The war in Iran is raising many concerns for adults. We got gas prices to worry about, national security, even our own mental health. But oftentimes during times like this, we tend to forget about how the war might be impacting children.
That's right. Here to help us understand how to talk to our kids about war is psychologist Bart McGee. Bart, thank you for being here.
Great to be here
this morning. Such an important topic for parents, teachers, especially. It's a lot of times where kids go to ask questions, right? I think one thing that makes it hard these days is access to media. When I was a kid and we were going to war, we did not have access to images and video
of that stimulus
and information. So what can parents and teachers do?
I mean, this is something I think we've talked before about, which is just we need to be mindful about exposure to media, because we know that too much screen time is not helpful for kids, especially young children. So I think for young children, keeping limits on the amount of media they're consuming. And then for older children, I think beginning to teach them about the impact of different kinds of images that they might see or different kinds of content to help educate them.
And how do you know when it's time to talk to your kid? Do you ask them? Do you wait for them to ask you?
Yeah, I think in times like this, I would be paying attention to children, because children aren't going to say, hey, I'm noticing the war. I mean, especially young children.
I'm feeling anxious.
No, they're not going to say that. You're going to see it in different kinds of behavior. And also the thing to remember about kids is they have active fantasy lives, right? So that's how children process things, right? They're going to be, you might see it in behavior or play. You might see different kinds of, more anxious kinds of play or anxious kinds of emotions coming up in different ways. Exactly. Maybe a little out of the ordinary. And that might be a signal that it's time to maybe get closer and really pay more attention and be open to starting to have the conversation.
And how do you start that? I mean, a lot of times, you ask a kid, like, how are you? How was your day? And they just say, good, fine, bad, like, what sort of questions should you be? Is it more like, tell me more about this, or how do you?
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think you always want to be asking kind of open-ended questions, and questions that just involve kind of listening more. I mean, direct questions, you're right, sometimes will just cause the child to kind of shut down. But just noticing things and asking about what you're noticing. So if a child's just saying something or playing a different way, just, being interested and being curiosity, I think, would be the most thing. Asking questions that are about curiosity, about what's going on. Hey, what's going on with that?
Well, and then to take the flip side to that, too, if your child does approach you, be accessible. Don't just, mom and dad are busy right now. We're talking about, because that might be one of the few times they actually kind of broached the subject with you.
The other thing I was going to say is I think it's important for parents and caregivers, adults, to pay attention to their own feelings. We're all having feelings about this war and about different kinds of violent experiences that might be happening around us. So it's important to
images
check,
like this.
Exactly. Check in with our own feelings first, because I think you're not going to be able to help your child process their feelings unless you're in touch with your own. And you've thought about it and worked it out a little bit so that you can, as you said, be present and available to them.
And I think a lot of times parents, too, they want to really reassure kids, everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be okay, we're safe here. But then, as we mentioned about media, different things, kids talk at school, there could potentially be acts here at home, closer to home, that are, concerning. How do you kind of broach that or make sure you're not downplaying?
See, that's a really good, I think that's a really good point. I think you always want to strike a balance. Obviously, you want to create a sense of safety, but mostly the way we can do that is be present, stick to routines, and show your children that you've got it. Everything's safe around us. And then again, respond to any specific concerns they might have. But we don't want to try to pretend that it's not happening, because they're going to find out about it. So I think that actually can be counterproductive. Because then they don't have you to talk about it. Because if they think, oh, mom and dad don't want to talk about this for some
Right.
reason.
It's not something
they're
you're supposed to
avoiding
talk
it.
about.
It's,
That kind of adds to a level of
that can
anxiety,
add to
I feel
anxiety.
like.
Again, presence, empathy, compassion, support. That's what's going to make your child feel safer.
Wow, okay. Well, that's obviously something that parents are going to have to keep in mind because we don't
Yeah.
know how long this is going to last.
No.
And
Yep.
so this is going to be a work
And
in
it applies to
progress.
other
I was just
different
gonna
kinds of
say,
incidents,
this
like
is-
there's a school shooting, or
Right.
if there's other kinds of violence in the
fights that might
neighborhood.
break out because of this at
right.
school.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is sort of a topic we need to always be paying attention to.
Definitely.
Mickey, Bart,
Bart,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much for
Thank
coming
you.
in today. And
Great to be
really
here, as always.